for those that won't be able to attend. I hope you guys are doing well. I know we had a lot of crazy storms across Oklahoma last night, so I hope you didn't have any damage. If you were like me, you may have been up late watching the news, watching the weather radars, and making sure you're keeping the family safe. I had a bag packed and ready to head to the hidey hole if necessary. So you guys know the drill. If you live in Oklahoma, that's what we do in the springtime. So glad you're all here. First, we've got just a few announcements. Let me get my slides working right. Welcome to week 2. I want to congratulate you guys on the discussions. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Realize I do want you to have a nice detailed response on our discussion boards. Don't just put 1 or 2 sentences. I really like to see a nice whole thought process there. And also be sure to get your initial post in by Tuesday at midnight so that you can get your whole 20 points for that. And then also do your responses by Saturday at midnight. So I want you to get the most of those points. Our discussion boards count for about 10% of your grade, so they are very important. Also, if you ever, oh, there's Stephanie's back. Were you unable to hear Stephanie, or did it kick you off there? Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, well, I hope it doesn't continue doing that then. Exactly. It happens sometimes. It's so annoying. So on the quizzes, be sure and get those in before the due date. Quizzes and our final project are a huge chunk of your ending grade. So the chance of making an A if you miss just one quiz is actually very slim. So please do not miss those. Also, this week, I know some of you have already started planning for your final project, and we're going to take just a few minutes to talk about that because I want you to feel really good and positive about what you're going to do. So we covered this last week. I'm just going to briefly go over really quick what we've already covered and talked about. You're going to write a business plan. It needs to be related to your core area specifically. If you took Intro to Marketing, you're welcome to build on the one that you started in that class, but I want to see improvements for the past one, and it needs to be customized to our course because there are some things in our business plan that were not required in the marketing class. You're going to do a little more research. Also, read page 110 in your book. There are links to the Small Business Administration Business Plan Online and how to write a business plan on our course page. Please go to those so that you can understand better what a business plan is. Also, there is a rubric on our course page so that you can go through all the requirements of the business plan, and it's fantastic. Oh, it did. Oh no, Stephanie. I don't even know what the cure is to that. I just know I've had it happen to me sometime as well. On the business plan rubric, it would be best if you use this as a flow chart as far as the order of the items and how they need to be in your PowerPoint or your Google Slides, depending on how you put this together. So an example would be the first slide is probably going to be your company name, because it's part of the company overview. The second slide would be executive summary. The third slide would be your company objective. So you sort of get the idea there. Just follow this as a way of putting it together. It makes it easier to understand, easier to build, and it also makes it easier for the instructor for grading purposes as well. Okay? So we talked a little bit, a couple of these last time. I think we talked about the mission statement. We talked about the idea of if you're going to do a product or a service. So in week 1, your final project goal was choose your product or service that you're going to customize your business plan around. So basically, What do you sell? How does it benefit your customers? What is your product life cycle? How long does it last? Right? So these are things you should have kind of thought about last week. Maybe you went to the website. So did anybody get this done last week? Did anybody come up with your product or service and maybe do a little investigating there? I know several of you had ideas during our last lecture. Okay, good, Taylor, good. And Kiara, awesome. Sort of started at Amber. Okay, well, that's a good start. The main thing is I don't want you guys to wait until week 4 to begin this. It is a pretty lengthy project, and I don't want you to be rushed through it. So doing it a little bit at a time, week by week, will really help you out. Oh, you did some of the readings. Well, good. You got to get your background first, exactly. And then you go from there. So this week, your project goal for week 2, now you're not going to turn anything in here, but this is just like a personal goal for you, is to come up with your company name. And this is both hard to do, but it's also fun to do, because you can get really creative here. You can talk to friends, try to get their ideas as well. And you're also going to pick your type of company formation. So is it going to be a sole proprietorship, a partnership, a corporation, or a limited liability company that we often abbreviate as LLC? So we're going to talk about each of these today as well. So as we go through this process, you could actually, through this live lecture, you could maybe get a couple of these things picked as we go along. So let's go into business names, because I think this is so interesting. Google is a big name that we know. So Google started out as a joke about the amount of information a search engine can search. A Google, G-O-O-G-O-L, so a little different spelling, is 1 followed by 100 zeros. Oh my gosh. But a misspelling on a check by an investor resulted in the spelling Google, G-O-O-G-L-E, as we see today, and we see that all over the internet, right? So very common word, and it is interesting. I don't know, maybe we wouldn't be drawn to it as much as we are if it had that other spelling, Google, I don't know. So anyway, interesting little fact there. Coca-Cola's name comes from the coca leaves and the cola nuts used in the flavoring of the soft drink back in the day. Eventually, Coca-Cola creator John Pemberton changed the K of cola to a C to create a more fluid name. So it used to be spelled with K's instead of C's. And sometimes you will see that on very old merchandise or products. So I like the double C's personally. IKEA, another one, is a random collection of letters. Who would have guessed? It uses the first letters of founder, I cannot say his name, I'm guessing Ingvar Kamprad's name, and the first letters of the Swedish property and the village where he grew up in. So Ingvar Kamprad, Elmchard, Egjard. I'm not Swedish. I did not do that well. But anyway, that became the term IKEA. And isn't that really an interesting name? I mean, it's catchy, it's short, and it's become this worldwide name that we recognize from this random collection of letters. So just a little bit about company names. Now let's talk about naming your company name. You could use a business naming firm. There are businesses out there that this is what they do. Oh, Angela's here too. Let me get you down, Miss Angela. Okay, and business name for about 6 months of work on naming your business, it'll cost you about $80,000. So if you were running a multi-million-dollar business or multi-billion-dollar business, this might be a pretty good investment. However, you can also just create your own, which is what IKEA did, right? So in creating your own, some things to think about. The more your name communicates to consumers about your business, the less effort you must exert in explaining it and in your marketing, in your advertising. So here's two good examples. The muffler shop. Is there any question in your mind what they do? Now, you may not know what other services they provide as well, but if you are looking for a muffler, this might be where you go, is the muffler shop, right? Very simple. Also, Facebook. 2 syllables, easy to say, you're going to see faces. It's not in a book, but let's just say it's like a digital book. So you want it to communicate, not be something just strange and random where if somebody reads your name, they don't really know what you do. And you've probably seen businesses like that when you're driving down the road, maybe on the way to someplace else, and you see this name for a business and you have no idea what they do. So to be successful, we want to have what you do in the name. If it starts with the letter A, it will generally be at the top of the list in a phone book. Now, we talked about phone books last time, didn't we? Yeah? So maybe it's a maybe that is a good marketing thing, but maybe it's kind of old-fashioned as well. Now, you shouldn't use strings of numbers or initials. These are just guidelines. H&T Products doesn't really tell you. It's some type of product, but we don't know what it is. 123 Let's Go. I have no idea what they do there. So examples, initials and numbers. So the name should be broad and meaningful. Avoid specific location names or specific products. So an example, Tulsa Laptops. Now, it tells you what they do. That's where you would go to get a laptop, right? But, okay, do they sell laptops? Well, what else do they sell? Do they sell other computer-related products? Do they sell PCs? Do they sell tablets? Do they sell iPads? So there's lots of different things that might come to mind. And Tulsa is very specific. So if you were a big success and you wanted to branch out into other states, nearby towns, that name might be an issue. So harder to get your franchises going. A better name, a little more vague, but still telling you what they do, computer experts. So things related to computers and experts, and anytime it has expert on the end, your brain instantly goes, oh, they must really know what they're talking about, right? We just naturally do that. So when you guys are coming up with your name for your business plan, I want you to test drive it a little bit. I want you to ask friends or family members what they think about the name. I want you to consider some of these tips we've just talked about it. See if it really matches or brings out the product, your location, what you do. Is it easy to say? That's another thing. You don't want a word that people will have no idea how to pronounce. I've always nixed putting my first name in any type of business. Shani, S-H-A-N-I, a lot of people mispronounce it. Growing up, I was Shani, Shawnee, Shani. There were lots of different ways of saying it. Nobody knew how to spell it either. So my first name, not so great. Now my maiden last name, though, was Green, spelled just like the color G-R-E-E-N. So when I started my dog boarding facility, when my children were young, we named it Greenacre Getaway. So I had my maiden name in there, kind of a family name, but also Getaway because it was like a pet vacation. So anyway, think about it. Test drive it with your friends and see what they think. So, oh, I've already covered this. Okay, bad, Mojanticas. Most people are going to mess that up. Better, maybe Mojo BMX Racing, easy words. Also, make sure the name and domain is available. Check on the internet. See if somebody else already has that name. So your company name and internet domain should probably be the same, and that's what we want. We want that connection. So check out your preferred names with your state and corporation site. Oklahoma has one. Also, you could check Network Solutions for the domain name, and you can use the U.S. Patent Office if you want to actually trademark it as well. And here's a link here at the bottom, too, to the Oklahoma site on state and corporations. So if you were really doing this, this is where you put in a little research time. For this purpose, you don't have to do it, but I want you to know that this is out there, okay? Let me see. Here's a few names. Let's look at this as kind of like this company was brainstorming. It's a cleaning company, and they wound up choosing the name Pickup Artist. It's kind of cute. Cleaning company is below it, so you know what it is. But look at some of these other names on this page. And you tell me, some of these names, which are the ones that you wouldn't choose first? Of these names, which ones are you like, no, that's not good? Wow, wow, yeah, or woo woo. You agree? It conveys nothing about the company, does it? Bandit buffers, yeah, that's another one. Clutterbug, like Daisy, Cleanifornia. So you can see how seeing these names. Okay, I don't even know how to say that one, Angela. The Divicity, Kydexa. So those are definite good examples of bad names, right? It doesn't convey the company. It's hard to say. It's kind of awkward, in fact. Most of those are. Even Iris Essence. What is that? So you really can't tell what the company is. Top Mops. Maybe, but do they sell mops or do they use them? Okay, so of these other options, Cow Living. Spray, yeah. So of these other options, do you see any that you think might have been a good candidate? Is there one that you like other than Pickup Artist? One that just sounds kind of catchy, you think, yeah, that's a good choice. You guys are looking, you're searching. Tidy Pros Cleaning Company. I agree. I kind of like that one too. Amber, Mighty Tidy. It's kind of fun to say, right? And it still conveys a little bit about the company, right? Masters of Clean. You know, we've used that term again. Maybe it's not experts, but it is masters. And again, our brain goes, oh, they must be amazing. They're cleaning masters. Sparkling King, HCC, House Clean Call. Yeah. So those are all decent choices, right? So they came up with a lot of ideas. Now, did all these ideas probably come from one person? No. That's why I want you guys to reach out for some ideas and get some extra help on this, okay? Because one person may come up with something completely original that you had never thought of before, right? Okay, so good job, guys. All right, next, let's take a moment, think about it. I'll get my writing tool up here, maybe. Get some nice big print going on. All right, and you tell me, do you have any ideas already for what you might name your business for your business plan? No pressure if you don't have any. You don't have to chime in on this, but if you do have an idea, let me know so that we can kind of share on this. And this might even be a good time to kind of give each other some feedback too. Yes, Angela, it does. It needs to be in the area of your core program or somehow related to your core program. Yeah. Oh, Amber. Sorry. Hey, Amber, do you have a name for your business? Do you have an idea already of how you're going to start this business plan and the name of your business? Not yet. Okay. So this will be some of your homework this week, guys, to really think about this and get this started, because I think this is really where you launch everything from. You're struggling with that part. Okay. Well, I don't want to put you guys on pressure. So I've had if I can type. I had Great Acre Getaway, which was our pet boarding business, and I also had Naturally Clean. I had my own cleaning business as well, and I made all my cleaning products from scratch from all natural ingredients. So I wanted that to be conveyed in the word, right? Because that was one of my big selling points. I wasn't just cleaning, I was cleaning with natural products. Fox Oasis and Clinic. Oh, cool. Yes. And I loved it, but oh my gosh, I was so busy. It's a pretty booming business area. When people go on vacation, they want a nice, safe, fun place for their animals to stay. And sometimes they're just kind of locked in a cage most of the time. We had nice big indoor-outdoor runs. We took them on river romps, took pictures, sent emails. It was a good time. Well, the critters keep you busy. We also boarded cats, we boarded a duck, and we also boarded 2 wallabies at one time. So design it like an oasis. Exactly. Exactly. And you know, people often, yeah, they like to board where they get their animals shots and treated, maybe with a vet. So a great location, yes, would be right next door. I'm trying to think. Uh, I think that's all the businesses I've had. I had an uncle who redoes older homes and around the Eureka Spring area, and he's been doing construction for years and years and years, and he knows how to work on these 100 and 200-year-old homes. And a lot of new contractors don't necessarily have as much knowledge in this area, so he stays very busy. And the name of his business, again, we've got green in the name, was Greenway Construction. Oops. And it's kind of funny because he's very hard-headed, so he does it the green way. So, so anyway, you guys, oh, I'm remembering another one. My dad had a business for a while. Monument, I cannot type today. Monument Restorations. Do you have any idea what that business might have been? Monument Restorations. Restoring large places? No, no. We'll see what Taylor's coming up with here. Good job, Taylor. Exactly. Yeah, good job. I didn't think anybody would guess that. After he retired, he from B.F. Goodrich Tire Company, he started this monument restoration business. He was his only employee, and he restored tombstones. So he would do. Really? Oh, that's so unique because you don't hear of it very often, Taylor. He had his little kit that he took with him, and sometimes individuals would hire him. Maybe a tombstone is broken. Maybe it needs to be cleaned and resealed. It really is interesting. It is. And also he had this color kit so that, say you had an old tombstone that had maybe a flower etched into it, but it's all gray. He could use this color kit to paint that flower color, and it was a special paint that you use like on granite. So it was really neat, and it was a great sort of side business. And he also had he worked with an Indian cemetery to restore 200 graves. Again, some of them have been broken. Some of them were so old you couldn't even see the ages very well, the dates. So it was definitely an interesting business. Okay, so you guys get the idea. The thing is, even though you may not be planning on having a business someday, it may come up. It may be your side job. It may be where you make your $1 million. And I want you to be ready for that. I want you to have the skills that you need. Okay, so types of business ownership. This is the other thing you're going to pick this week. Think about how your business is going to be set up. Are you going to have a partner? Are you going to have other employees? Are you planning on running $1 million business, or is this going to be a small family business? So kind of think about your setup first. Then decide, is it going to be a sole proprietorship that is owned by one single individual? And we're going to talk about advantages and disadvantages of each of these here in just a minute. Is it going to be a partnership, 2 or more people serving as co-owners? Is it going to be a corporation, a business that exists as a separate legal entity, almost as another person? Or is it going to be a limited liability company, which is kind of a hybrid between a corporation and a partnership? Okay, so let's talk about each of these so that you can pick what you want. Now, these graphs came out of your book, but I really love them. I think it helps explain quite a bit about how we set up our business. So Exhibit 6.1, let me grab my pointer. I need some sunshine today. We'll use the sunshine. Exhibit 6.1, total number of businesses by form of ownership. You'll see the largest chunk of that pie graph is sole proprietorship. So people, single people owning the business, not as a partnership on their own, right? Sole proprietorships take the biggest chunk. Corporations, a little bit smaller. Partnerships, even smaller. Now compare this to Exhibit 6.2 on the right, total net income by form of ownership. Here you'll see corporations take the biggest chunk of the pie. So even though corporations, we don't have as many, they make a lot more money in the end. Partnerships are next. So even though they're smallest on how many we have around here, partnerships are second, and then sole proprietorships are actually the smallest chunk of the pie on total net income. So even though we have a lot more of them, they don't make as much money overall. So kind of keep that in mind. Let's talk about sole proprietorships first. And you decide in your mind if this is the type of business you want to set up. Advantages, easier as far as the formation goes, you're controlling it. You're the owner, retention of all the profits, and some possible tax advantages of being a sole proprietor, and they're all going to you. Some disadvantages, a little more limited financial resources because they are all on you or the bank that's helping support you. Unlimited liability, they can come directly after you if something goes wrong. Limited ability to attract and maintain talented employees because they tend to be a little bit smaller, a little less in the profits area, and those talented employees usually require a little extra money. Heavy workload responsibilities, people that are sole proprietors, it just seems like 24/7 sometimes. Go, go, go. Lack of permanence, okay? So advantages and disadvantages to each one. General partnerships, this would be 2 or more people going in as partners on a business. Advantages, pooled financial resources, each person is putting up a little bit of the cash. More shared responsibilities, you're not having to do it all on your own. Easy to form, some tax advantages. Disadvantages, again, like the sole proprietorship, unlimited liability. They come right for everybody in the partnership. Disagreements can definitely happen because we all see things differently. Sometimes lack of continuity might mean one of the partnerships decides to withdraw or leave the business, and which leads to the difficulty in withdrawing from the agreement. So one of them has to buy the other one out, or it can get complicated, right? Okay, next, advantages and disadvantages of corporations. So corporations, limited liability, permanence a little more solid, easy to transfer ownership because it's almost like selling a car or a house, only a lot more complicated. But it is itself, you're not a part of it. Ability to raise capital, maybe get some investors, and specialized management systems that become set up. Okay, disadvantages. Can be a little more expensive, complex to form, double taxation because you're taxed as an individual and then also over here as a corporation. Paperwork, regulation can be a challenge. Complications when operating in more than one state because each state has their own little list of rules that you have to follow, and there can sometimes be conflicts of interest. So this is really going for the gusto. Now, in my mind, when you're first starting off with a new business, you're probably going to pick sole or partnership or maybe limited liability company. Then when it gets going really big, you may then convert to a corporation. Okay, limited partnerships. This is an example of another partnership. So sole partnership, limited partnership. Includes at least one general partner and one limited partner. So maybe the limited partner doesn't necessarily make decisions about the business, but they help finance, or vice versa. So a limited liability partnership, they're all involved, but the amount of liability differs, right? So you've got one that's maybe a little more into the business than the other. A limited liability company, this might be also a good one to choose when you're first starting up. And like we said way back on the previous slides, this is kind of a hybrid setup. So, advantages, limited liability, kind of like the corporations. It's a nice tax pass-through, not going through you. Simplified management and operation, a little more flexible as far as the ownership goes when compared to a corporation. Disadvantages, a little bit more complex to form, a little more complex than, say, a sole proprietorship or a partnership. You may get into franchise taxes, foreign status in other states, again with corporations and LLCs. The rules are going to vary state by state. Limited to sometimes select industries, not everybody can do it, and state law differences. Okay? So even though we kind of threw in that other type of partnership in there, I want you to mainly focus on the main 4 choices from your book on what you choose for your business plan. So you're going to choose either sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or limited liability company, LLC, right? So this will be one of the things that you choose this week, the name of your company and how it's going to be set up, right? Okay, this is one of our final slides, guys. We're almost there. So thinking about those basic business forms, I want you to decide what you would do in each of these instances. And please know that there's more than one correct answer. So let's say first, you're starting a t-shirt screen printing business. T-shirt screen printing. What type of business formation would you choose for that? You're just starting off. What would you pick? A t-shirt screen printing business. Some of you guys may have worked in this type of business before, in fact. So, okay, sole proprietorship or partnership. Yes, you can do either one, Amber, that's right. That might be a good place to start. Okay, what about a restaurant? And I know some of you have worked in the restaurant business before, right? That's where we start off in life. You learn a lot from a restaurant. Being a waitress, being a cook. Did that for many, many years. A partnership or an LLC. Actually, both of those would be good choices. I have friends that are in the restaurant business. When they first started out, they were in a partnership. Some advantages of running a restaurant in a partnership is that you can have different people on site at different times as far as the basic management of the restaurant goes, because restaurant management is very time consuming. It's pretty much anytime it's open, somebody needs to be there, and the higher ups. So it was easier for them as a partnership on them, but then they bought the other person out. They became a sole proprietor. It was nice for them then that they were the person making all the choices for the restaurant, the menu, if any changes were going to be made to the building, it was all on them. But they had to put in a lot more hours after that because they didn't have that partner and also the funds. So you can see how it could kind of go either way. All right, what about a beauty salon? What type of company formation would you choose, or business form would you choose for a beauty salon? A partnership, sole or partnership. Yeah, I think either one of those would actually be pretty great. Sole, I think I would lean towards sole because of the way a beauty salon is set up. Sometimes you pay your beauty operators, but sometimes they rent a booth space instead. So depending on how that was set up, yeah. Okay, what about landscaping? A landscaping company. So I want you to think about, too, what you would be doing with landscaping. You know, cutting down trees, mowing the lawn. I don't know, there could be all kinds of things thrown in there. Flower gardens, putting down sod. What do you think there? I think there's one that's a little bit better pick for this type of company. LLC. Yeah, I think so. I think so, Felicia. And the reason why I might choose an LLC for landscaping is because in this type of business, you're going to someone's home. Accidents can happen. Sometimes they're very small. Sometimes they're very financially huge. So I think an LLC on a landscaping business would provide you with a little more protection. So if something happened to the sprinkler system, if something happened to the house itself, maybe cutting a limb, it landed on the home. So that would protect you as an individual, so that they're not suing you directly. It would be more towards your LLC company. Okay, so that's why I want you guys to think about what you'd be doing, right? Okay, and then the last one was auto repair. What would you pick for auto repair? Well, yeah, Taylor, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to, you know, it's grass, but yeah, you still got to have a home and your family protected. Auto repair, I think partnership or sole would actually be great there. Yep, exactly. Especially if you're going to have those weekend hours and you want to be home at some point in your life, a partnership would share a little more of the financial burden and the work burden as well. You might also pick LLC here, but it would totally be an option. So then if these businesses expanded, you know, let's say you started off as a sole or a partnership, you might consider switching to an LLC later on, or maybe you started as an LLC, you might consider upping to a corporation as well. So if things go well, sometimes your business plan has to change as well. Yeah. Awesome. You guys did great. Hey, we have 15 more minutes left in our class period, but I think we covered everything. And I just want to take a moment to ask you guys if you have any questions. You're going to name your business this week. You're going to pick your business formation. You're working on your business plan. You're not waiting till the last minute. Any questions about the business plan? Or you feel like you're pretty solid in that, starting to understand things? Fantastic. Good. Good. Stay on top of things. Stay on top of your due dates, guys. I want you to do well in the class. Okay? And if you don't have any questions, you can scoot on out of here and go enjoy the rest of your day. We've got a little sunshine in Northeast Oklahoma. It stopped raining. Okay, in the reading that there was an outline of what you need, but if you're starting out, you don't have some of that information. That's true. And you know, are you talking about on the business plan, Amber? Oh, you too, Taylor. Have a good day. Okay, on the business plan, it's a little confusing at first, and as we go through each week, we're going to talk about it each time. So, like right now, I think you probably feel a little bit better about business formation and about how to pick your company name. So that's the thing is I want you to try to focus on the things that we've covered in week 1 and week 2 and get those built, and then realize that as we go along, we're going to be talking more and more about each section. And I think you'll finally go, oh, okay, I'm getting it. And please don't hesitate to go to those websites, read a little bit on what a business plan is. And remember, you know, on our rubric on how I'll be grading, that's the best thing to focus on as far as the order it should be in. And there's also some links in your rubric. If you go into My Course Connection, there's some links that refer back to some pages too. So I think that'll help you out. But if you get stuck on any one specific thing, please call or email, and I'd be glad to help you out, okay? Awesome. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you, Kaylin.